There we go. Current date, May 31st. So let's run through a little time frame here. Let's do a bit of a lifting audit. Right now, this isn't about you because obviously you have been locked in for years at this point. You're into it. You know, this isn't a call out, right? But let's think about this. January gone, February, March, April, and now May. That's 5. I feel like it was just a couple of months ago, around January, around December, New Year's time, where, you know, I'm like, guys, before you know it, it's going to be June. It's going to be halfway through the freaking year. What happened? You know, but that's kind of played out. We all know. You know, you don't need your freaking mom to tell you to do your laundry anymore. So, as long as you're relatively perceptive to that fact, hopefully you're still kind of locking it in. But it's getting warm. It's getting freaking warm. I think I might have to do without the paleness and start cooking out in the sun. And all I hear is bad things, but then also all I hear about UV exposure is good things. I'm talking vitamin D. I'm talking just overall mood improvements, everything else. You know, don't fall for the sunlight propaganda. Get out there, right? Catch some freaking rays. Don't get burned, but that's obvious, right? It's always just do just enough. But no, plan for today with chest. I'll see just how wild I want to go. I think the 150s have been calling my name. It's been like 3 weeks since I've touched them at the home gym, so they are in dire need of a little bit of a revamp. You know, it's like you find your dad's old shirt or something where you're like, ooh, this thing has been worn for a while. All right, let's bust this shit out. Right? Yeah, and I'm still teetering on going heavier, but I think the 150s are kind of a good limit. You know, there's obviously a diminishing return with everything, but in particular with the amount of weights that you can move around, right? Because at any given strength, I mean, there is a number. Let's say it's a good day, you're fresh, you're strong, you're feeling good, everything's properly warmed up. There is a number where that's like the most effective weight, right? Whether that's 100 doing 30 reps, or whether it's 150 doing 16, or maybe pushing it up to 160 doing 12 or whatever. Like somewhere there is that perfect number. And I would imagine that perfect number has to be combined with a perfect approach, aka going nuts and, you know, kind of exerting yourself as hard as you can really manage, to the point where you're not even really thinking thoughts, you're just kind of, you know, you're just making guttural animalistic sounds in your mind as you're throwing this shit around, right? So wherever that number is, typically I would imagine it's usually a little heavier than lighter, and that's, you know, kind of how I go about judging what I should lift. But if it's a day where I'm feeling a little weaker, be it scrappy recovery, I don't know, just whatever, you know, sometimes shit's totally out of your control. You could have had a good night's rest, ate all your food, drank all your water, but maybe you have like just a twinge of like a stomach bug or like some kind of, you know, respiratory thing where you're not sick, but you're just a little compromised and your body's using a bit of its, or a bit more energy to kind of recover yourself there, right? Like sometimes you don't know. So that's the whole point of what I consider the warm-up pre-workout. You know, once you actually get in there and start moving shit around, it's not to just get warm, obviously it is, but it also tells me how this lift should go, right? If I'm start warming up and I'm on the cables, you know, and I'm doing my cross body presses and curls and push downs and rotator cuff and everything else, and everything's feeling sweet, I'm probably going to go a bit heavier. But if, you know, I'm a little tense, if I can tell I've just got residual fatigue, not enough to, you know, pull the lift, but enough where I'm like, okay, ooh, I'm feeling my or just somewhere, then that might make me think, all right, let's do some more light squeezing, just controlled work today, rather than just, you know, crazy ass pressing, right? And I think that's what the enlightened lifter, that's what the knowledgeable character is going to be able to do for himself. You know, I think you might be I'm not dogging on it, but I think the idea of having a workout already written out, sets, reps, everything beforehand can sometimes be a little bit of a limiting factor, because for one, you're only going to go as hard as that workout says you go, And, who's to say that's like really a good workout for once you actually got to the gym and you're warming up. Like, I've had days where I'm feeling like heavy ass barbell squats, and then actually getting in there, I can feel my hips and my hamstrings. I'm like, ooh, okay, I don't know if I should overload to the max today. I think maybe I should pull back a touch. So you got to have room for that human error. And it's not error, it's just, different variables, right? But the one thing I can really stand behind is bringing it on the regular, right? We've all kind of heard the phrase, if you can only give 30%, and then you actually give that full 30%, dude, you just gave 100, right? So even if you're feeling a little rough, I'm more concerned with what kind of lifter I can be rather than what kind of lifts I do, if you kind of follow my drift here, right? Because who's gonna get better gains? At the end of the day, that's what we're all talking about. Beyond the fact that just working out is fun, it's a good time period of your day to enjoy, and just an activity we all like. We're all kind of here for a reason. We want gains. I don't think anybody started working out because they said to themselves, I wish I just had like a 1 hour a day activity I could do and just kind of get to enjoy. Like, that's not why we started doing this, right? It's because we were looking at guys who were way bigger than us and thinking, all right, this guy's onto something. This guy has been doing something. I think we got to copy him, right? I think we got to take a couple pages out of his book and see what's going on, and pack some beef on, or a little bit of a kind of vendetta style. Somebody picked on you for being scrawny, that sort of thing. Doesn't matter what it was, right? But the goal was progress. So how I look at that is the primary kind of limiting factor to how hard and how consistent someone's going to be is just how they can handle, feeling a little rough, because if you come into the gym and you're like, let's make it a light day. All my buddies, nobody's doing legs. I don't want to do legs. You know what? I shouldn't have even come in today. I'm taking a rest day. Yeah, man. No. Insert a goddamn infinity gauntlet onto my hand right now. All of those people just turned to dust, right? And now now I can rest over. Yeah, right. So what I'm getting at is the guys who can kill it when they don't feel like it, for one thing, are going to keep killing it. And when they do feel like it, and they are feeling a little more excited, which honestly I'd say 95% of the time they will be, then they're going to kill it extra hard, right? But if you can be off-put and you're kind of, to put it a little more like high stakes, like if you can have your dreams completely snuffed out just because you weren't really feeling like it that day, it's going to make me call into question just how much you want it. I'm not saying you in particular, but just like anyone, even myself, right? Those are kind of some of the things that I'll end up thinking, which will get me going if I'm not always on my game, right? So if I didn't get the best sleep or I'm traveling or whatever, I got you. Just take a rest day here, man. It's like, do I want to be the guy who just skipped? Do I want to be the guy who just freaking slacked? No. And it's kind of a weird, like, it's kind of a weird, like, pissing contest, because the coolness factor of doing things that are hard, I don't know what percentage, but a good portion of that, sort of enjoyment is just knowing the fact that somebody else couldn't do it. So it's kind of like, who can hit their head against a brick wall the hardest. But if you're not into the lifting, or if you know anybody who's not into it, then they wouldn't get it, right? But we do, frankly, given just, shit, what's the percentage? Who is really getting after it versus who couldn't really give two shits. Mind my language, but 90%, 95% of people couldn't care less, and so that puts us in the minority, and that is a cool spot to be in. But now I'm getting myself amped up for this chest day. But yeah, I think it's nice and bright out, so I can actually do a open garage lighting style. I still got to get some new, like, fancier down lighting setup. I'll figure something out. But either way, I can guarantee that within 8 to something, and I think I might want to up my volume a little bit. I think I might have been taking the low volume a little extreme. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to completely upright my training, but we'll see. We'll see, because I don't want to leave knowing I didn't do enough. That's most certainly a good perception to have. But either way, we'll see. I can guarantee, though, within an hour of, park and unload and getting warm, I will have inflated my chest to the degree that hopefully even like my range of motion will become limited in the front. That's my goal. So let's go see if I can make it happen. All right. I will likely need to lower the weight. Maybe even after just one set, I'll have to see how much I can handle. But I want to start by simply doing as many sets of this incline press as I can. And by as many sets as I can, I mean as many as I can do, up to like 8 reps, 10 reps-ish, probably close to 8. And then probably work my way down to only 3 plates. So if I can do 12 with 4, I'll do 4 again. Then if I can only do 8 with 4, maybe I'll drop to 3.5, or 3 plates into 25. Maybe I get 12 with that, and kind of pyramid down. And for some, they may see that as, you're only doing one movement. What the hell? I don't see that. I don't see the appeal to that logic, because every workout I might start with a different machine, So, I mean, if you're so concerned with making sure every workout you do 8 different presses, if every workout you do 8 different presses, every workout is the same. You kind of follow me there? So if I make every workout maybe 3 movements, and every lift I change up what those 3 movements are, even though you might think that lift is a little simpler, I think it's given me more variability over time. That's how I think about it. And also, if you're going to load up plates, why would you only do 2 sets? I guess if you can do 2 sets and that's it and you're good, then you're good. But I wouldn't want to move on to another chest press and load weight again. I mean, like, this isn't it's not like every machine stack loading, just put a pin in there. I guess if your gym's like that, good for you. But no more talking. Let me go nuts here. Really got to dig deep for this one. And these will be controlled. Dumbbells might get a little nastier if I move over there, but this is going to be a very controlled set to failure. Okay. All right. Let's lose a plate, switch it with a 25, and repeat. That was good. I feel like a damn freight train pulling its cargo. All right, so I guess the opposite with that would be like being a fucking drag racer and throwing some shit around. I think the heavyweight in a controlled manner, you've got a better bet. That's where I would lean toward. But a few more. Let's keep running the shit up. All right. All right. We're getting up close and personal for this one. I got 3 plates on the Smith, and since I'm already pumped, there's like a funky extra aspect of being pumped up where it kind of makes you a little stronger in a sense, right? So you think, well, I just did 3 sets, I should be weaker now because I'm so fatigued from those 3 sets. You're not wrong, but being pumped, you get this kind of extra tightness, and it's almost like an elastic sort of feeling where it's not only the fact that me contracting my chest is pulling the weight upward, but it's also the fact that it's just so freaking pumped up full of blood. Like my chest doesn't even want to be pulled this far back. You know, it's as if you had, well, it's as if you're holding a bunch of freaking workout bands, right? If they're not in tension, you can move around whichever freaking way you want. But once you get them tight, shit, man, it's not like the machine, it's not like the band has any strength. You're just pulling against that kind of elastic part. So that's one thing that I've been limiting myself with chest-wise, and honestly any kind of, well, not so much anything else, mainly chest. But in my mind, I'm always thinking, okay, heavy pressing, let's just jump right into it. Heavy as I can go when I'm fresh and strong, which, yeah, you know, you can move a lot of shit around. But then I usually think, okay, my heavy pressing is done, let's move on, finish with more pump work. And I think that's just bro science talking, you know, because when I'm fully pumped up, like let's say I started with flies and then came to chest on the Smith or that press, it would still have that extra kind of oomph sort of feeling. Plus, like a barbell bench, or a Smith in this case, with a chest pump, I swear I can feel it in my chest way more. Like, of course I can feel it unpumped, but to already have so much blood and activation, it's just an extra level further. But no more talking about it. Oh, let's just make this shit happen. All right. All right. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh my goodness, all right, I can't do 3 again. Let's drop it to 2.5 and repeat. Actually, maybe 2. Do a light one. All right, I dropped it to 2 plates for this one. And this will be a little more of a, well, kind of torturous set. For me, I feel like it's a bit easier to just grab a heavy weight, 10 rep failure, boom. Right, it's like a damn sumo wrestling match. Cardio doesn't come into play. And it's just quick, you know? It's like slamming something with a sledgehammer versus chipping away at it slowly with a chisel, you know? So a set like this, each rep won't necessarily feel like I got the weight of the world, but the fatigue will add up, you know? So, I mean, I've been saying this forever. For every heavy, nasty set, counter it with maybe a lighter, more controlled squeezing one. That's the plan here. And then let's either do some cable press or pec deck. Not sure what yet. And then I'll go a little wider and try to go a little extra deep. All right. Okay. I'm not done. Make this a rest pause. Okay. Okay, enough of that. A little different than normal. Normally, I'm an incline or die kind of character, right? For the most part, everybody's got a decent lower chest. They want their upper pecs to catch up. So they have this kind of, shelf-looking thing right in front of the rib cage. But I do like the feeling of cables yay high, yay wide, bending over just a touch, and doing slightly more kind of decline-ish presses. So I still feel my whole chest, because at the bottom, I'm not pushing down, I'm pulling in, which gets all this firing from the bottom all the way up, to the top where my collarbone is. So I think 1 or 2 of these, then finishing off on the flat pec deck, should be freaking perfect. So let's just go nuts here first. And these I can do a little nastier. Okay. Okay. One more in a superset fashion. Okay. Okay. Pec deck time. Okay, this is not going to be a light squeezing set. This is going to be a little on the heavier end, nastier. I want to be fully pumped. That's what I'm aiming for. So really, my only priority is just leaving nothing in the tank. All right. Okay. Oh, goodness. All right. Lift complete. And frankly, I mean, even just based off forearm veins alone. Oh, goodness. Most certainly a good pump indeed. Feels good having a breeze. Now the only thing I'm missing is the big ass fan. Plus all the scenic kind of frame ass cool looking whatever it does when it's got the big fan just barely spinning. That would be a cool looking pose down. But let's see how chest is looking. All right, there we go. I'm feeling reasonably full. Let's see if it translates. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's good. Feeling very much describable as a freaking meatball, which some might call as an insult to a gym rat. I take that as a compliment. That's kind of what we're freaking aiming for, if you know what I'm saying. But I think nothing else to discuss except for a little bit of post-lift thoughts, as well as what meal I'm going to eat when I get home. I had sushi last night that was pretty good, but no leftovers. So let's roll. Checked off all the boxes with that one. Pretty heavy weight, solid amount of volume. That was what? 3 sets of machine press, 2 sets of Smith, 2 sets of cable, and then 1 set of pec deck. So 8 total working sets. That's about right. You know, that kind of ends up being my sweet spot or so. I think 8 is a very good number. And I'm not saying 6 is worse or 12 is worse, or if you do 15 sets in one workout, you're suddenly going to shrink down to a damn twig. That's not what I'm saying at all. But, I mean, well, let's be real. If you do any workout of any variety and you go hard on your back, your arms, whatever, and you build up a sweat, and then you push yourself, that's a good workout. Never going to knock that. But getting a little more specific, if you go nuts for 8 sets on whatever, 8 sets for quads, 8 sets for back, 8 sets for hams, anything, and they're good sets, it's hard to go wrong. I wouldn't freak. The only thing stopping me from continuing to grow in this bulk, it's not the fact that I'm doing 8 sets instead of 6, or 6 sets instead of 9, or any combination like that. It's if I just can't eat enough food to facilitate having a little extra calories to gain muscle. So the training is a stimulus, and once you've given yourself that stimulus to a proper degree, of course, go hard, then it's your responsibility outside the gym to get some grub in your system, stay carbed up, stay full and pumped, and just keep going. And then it's as simple as that. I feel like I'm getting a little repetitive here, because it's like, all right, train hard, eat a lot, do that very consistently, and then you're going to build some muscle. But I think the reason I keep wanting to freaking hammer that nail in is that's the secret, man. It's one of those, the secret is there's no secret kind of things. And anybody who's worked out for long enough is in the know. And anyone else is still, working their way in, right? It's like that scene in that movie with Tom Cruise where they're like, what's the password? And the beginner lifter is going to say, push-pull legs. The beginner lifter is going to say, 3 reps in reserve. And then the guy's like, that's the password for admission, but what's the password for... I don't know what I haven't seen the movie, I've only seen clips. What's the password? What's the real password? And the guy's like, I don't know. And then the real password is just consistency, right? But it's getting warmer. I tell you what, the public pool is very likely nearly open. And that means a trip to the diving boards. That means busting out some freaking flipperoonies. So I think I better start stretching out, working on my, kind of straddle pancake, making sure my hips are, nice and loose. Same thing with my shoulders, because I can still do it. Right? If you think I can't swing a damn 2.5 and go in perfectly vertical into a dive, you're fooling yourself. But I haven't done it for a while, so I think I need to limber up just a little bit. It's not so wild as like somebody busting out a backflip on, concrete. That's a crazy freaking impact. I would not want to have any of that happen. But the diving board's pretty slow and steady, right? It's like a big ass trampoline. You just kind of float, do a crazy amount of flips in the air, and then go straight in. So that's one thing. I think about that a lot, because that used to be my thing. That was all I'd be doing on the daily, pretty much. I mean, except for the weekends. But that was that's some fun stuff. Now, not so much. Now a little more lean towards the simply lift heavy objects, break a sweat, and repeat. So that will be what we continue to do. And then, yeah, man, shit. now that it's warm, there's a lot more opportunity for activities. I tell you something, the fishing poles that have been sitting in my trunk, for one thing, they're a tangled mess, and I gotta cut them and get a new little, fishing cue with bait and everything else. But yeah, man, it's warm enough. These fish are out, ready to be freaking caught. I think the biggest catfish I ever caught in one of the rivers around here was like maybe a foot. Well, yeah, probably getting close to a foot. Not that heavy though. Maybe like 3 pounds, probably only 2 pounds or something like that. Still, feels pretty damn fun pulling those things in. So that is on the to-do list. I got a couple things to do. I gotta make a whole week out of it. Do a full week of specials. Yeah. I feel like I've been promising a full day of eating for freaking weeks. And now I can really clickbait the title. Instead of just Sam's full day of eating, I could say full day of eating as an IFBB pro. I'll even add some like bulleted letters into the thumbnail. Really go for it. But either way, yeah, summertime. It's time to run around. And for most, it's time to run around and be lean. There's a very big demand for being lean in the summer. But if you know in your heart of hearts that you need to bulk, and then you don't because you want to conform to what anybody else thinks you should be doing in the summertime, that's, let's just say that's not a situation that I would want to have to put myself in. Let's just put it as simple as that. But that's all I got. So I will see you tomorrow for what I hope to be a very wide back ripping back day. Well, I guess back of the shirt ripping back day, to be a little bit more specific. So I will see you then.